good to go.
Be able to practice fully and everything.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Hey, just in hindsight, how important was it to win a game when your offense wasn't at its best?
It was huge. We always talk about being able to pull a game out if the ball's not going in the basket because of the other things that you're doing on the floor. And we did a lot of good things which allowed us to win that game. But we eventually have to put the ball in the basket.
And
When you look back at the Stanford games defensively, what stood out?
I thought we were very cohesive. I thought we were very together. Our guys were active. I thought we played 40 minutes of defense, which is something we've been wanting to do. And, we've been doing a lot better job. I think in the last 6 games I looked at it, if you take away the Utah game, I think we're holding teams to 38%, almost 39% from the field in 5 out of 6 games. In those 6 games, we've been forcing 17 turnovers a game. I think it's showing that our defense is getting a lot better. You know, you're playing over a 5-game period, and you're holding teams to under 39%. That's pretty good. So we have to continue to build on that at this late point in the season.
Does it feel odd playing a new team this late in the season?
That is interesting, yeah. I don't remember before, since we've gone into the Pac-12 format and with the alignment the way it is, if we've gone this long before we've played every team. But,
And especially a Northwest
yeah,
team.
it is a little different.
How hard are they to score against?
At home, Oregon State, like a number of teams in this league, is so much more difficult to play against. It's a much bigger challenge when you go there. It's a great atmosphere there, and you know they play with a lot of confidence in that building.
I know with the prior staff, they used to do a lot of, I don't know, sometimes you guys use the term junk defenses or different things to try to maybe get people out of their rhythm. What does Coach Tinkle like to do?
They have a number of different defenses in their defensive package, but they play that zone quite a bit. I think that's seems like their bread and butter, what they try to do. They try to slow you up, 3-quarter press or sometimes a full court press, but for the most part, they are pretty effective in that zone.
You've seen zones the last 2 games. Are your guys getting better at adapting to that?
I think so. I thought in the second half against Stanford, our guys did a very good job against the zone.
Is DeJounte's ability to knife in there and disrupt that zone, is that a different weapon? Is that a good way to attack it?
Very helpful. And not only him, if you look in the second half, well, DeJounte all day long, all game long, I should say, but David Crisp also penetrated. Andrew Andrews penetrated in the zone. And then when you have those guys, you know, Noah Dickerson should have received the basketball more in the teeth of the zone. We didn't do a good enough job of getting him the ball in there, but him and then Marquise Chris and Malik Dime in the back, it gives us some weapons. It gives us some guys that can really attack individually in their way and just continue to put it together and using all those in attacking the zone. I think worked very well for us in the second half against Stanford, and it needs to work very well for us as we continue.
You talked Saturday about how unique Stanford's zone was and how they played up on games. How is what you'll see from Oregon State different?
They don't play with as much size in the front, and they match up a little bit more than Stanford does, so it'll be different.
Is there anything that you can pinpoint to as to why the shots aren't falling? Is it just a matter of just them not going down, or maybe tired legs, or?
It could be, you know, this late in the season, and I think there's a point to where you can have tired legs, and that's not necessarily a freshman wall or a wall. You just go through those periods. Yesterday, we did, with the exception of working on zone offense a little bit, we did no contact in practice. We just did a lot of shooting, passing drills, things of that nature, but we're just trying to see if we can get our guys even fresher. I think we come out, we play pretty fresh, but we're taking these couple of days to try to get their legs back a little bit, maybe. Maybe that has something to do with it, because we get quite a few open looks.
And then is it a matter of getting the right guys better looks in like their spots, or is it anything that you can do scheme wise to sort of fix this?
What I want to say, well, you know me well enough to know what I mean. I want to say, so we need to get even more open shots. But personally, I think, you know, you go back and look at the films, and there were a couple shots, there weren't 10 people, there weren't anyone within 10 feet of the shooter several times. And guys aren't trying to miss, just sometimes just the legs aren't there. I think our concentration is fine. It's just something that we've gone through the last few games, and I know we're a better shooting team than we have shown the last few games. Earlier, the games that we won, and I think I pointed this out last week or talked to some of you about it, we won a couple games down the stretch, but we hit shots. If we didn't hit those shots, we wouldn't have won those games. And a few games here that we've dropped, if we would have hit shots late, we'd have won these games. So, just a matter of getting back to doing that.
So it sounds like these kind of practices are similar to maybe what you might do in the postseason then?
Yesterday's was. Yeah, yesterday's was probably one.
Do you feel like you might have to just kind of keep doing that as, you know, as you get into the Pac-12 tournament, for instance, or do you feel like this was just kind of a one-off?
I think there's a balance, because if that's all you do, then maybe you get out of rhythm in terms of actually playing the game, going up and down. We've played a lot of games, close to 30 now, so we understand what getting up and down means, but I think you have to do a little bit of both. I think you take a day to get up and down a little more, but earlier the practices were 2.5 hours. Now they're about 1 hour and 15 minutes. That's our way of, even if we get up and down, we've just cut way back so we maintain that freshness.
And normally in that balance, does that typically mean you guys maybe try to spend more time in the film room, or just in terms of talking to them more about kind of what's going on? And
yeah, and shooting the basketball. The thing is, sometimes the fact that when you sit in film, you need to pay attention. When we're working on the drills, if you go up and half-heartedly go up for a shot, we're going to be on you because you're not going hard. So there's a level of concentration that you have to have whenever we meet as a team that throughout the course of a year drains you mentally a little bit too. So there's sometimes when we don't do a whole lot just so that their minds can be freed up a little more, because sometimes that can drag you down. Because I remember playing 82 games in the NBA, and when that season ended, whenever it ended, you just felt like the weight was lifted off your mind, because for so long you were so dialed in for such a long period of time. I think that can get to young players too.
Are you happy with how Malik's fitting into his starting role? Have you noticed anything different about his game since you put him in the starting lineup?
No, nothing different. But we're happy with what he's doing. He's playing good basketball right now. One of the things Malik's really improved on is, and remember, he started playing basketball later, but once he started playing, he was such a good shot blocker. Everyone told him, you just hang around the rim, get you a cot, do whatever you need to do, but don't leave this area because you're such a good shot blocker. And the way we're playing defense, he's all over the floor guarding different positions and the switching. And he's learning not only to guard the ball, but to rotate better in our defense. So that has been very, very helpful for us and our defense.
Does this feel like maybe a little bigger opportunity to enhance your tournament profile, given that it is on the road and this is a top 35 RPI team? Maybe
There's no question, and but again, with 3 games left,
they're all big.
goodness gracious, yeah, they are. Each one, the next one after that they're all big. Yeah.
At what point do you or your staff start to take a look from a kind of broad national perspective about where you guys sit versus other teams that might be in consideration for the tournament?
I think, really, I think that's probably more Ashley's job, because, you know, I'm that guy that was a sports fanatic. I used to do that for NBA teams or college teams. When I was in high school, I tried to figure it all out. That was before I was coaching the team, and that's way too much to be worried about. I think what we were talking about earlier about how to keep guys fresh right now, and, you know, what to work on in practice, what's the next thing we need to move on, and attacking zone, all that, that's probably more the concern I have.
Is that stuff though, the